Some of you are standing at a crossroads today, and you don't know which way to turn. You feel lost, confused, and maybe even defeated. But I'm here to tell you this: God is not silent, and He is not blind to your struggle. He is standing right there, ready to light the way. He will guide you, even when the path seems invisible. And when He does, you will never be the same again. There are moments in life when everything around you is loud. People are talking, opinions are flying, deadlines are screaming, social media is buzzing, and your own mind is racing. And yet, in the middle of all that noise, God chooses to speak through silence. Some of you have been waiting for a sign, a loud trumpet, a flashing arrow, or some grand miracle that announces your next step. But that's not always how He works. Sometimes God speaks when the world is quiet, when no one else is watching, and even when you feel invisible. It's in those silent moments that clarity is born. Think about the times you've been stuck in traffic, late for an important appointment, frustrated, annoyed, cursing the situation, and yet during that time, a thought comes to you, an idea, a solution, a new perspective, and it feels as though it dropped from heaven itself. That is God speaking through silence. The world is screaming at you, to panic, to stress, to react, but He chooses that moment of stillness to remind you, I've got this. Don't rush. I am preparing your way. Or think about a parent sitting quietly in the kitchen late at night, watching their children sleep, worrying about bills, about education, about health. The world outside may be shouting fear and doubt at them, but in the silence of that moment, a deep peace comes, a gentle idea surfaces, a solution that never would have appeared in the chaos of the day. That is God speaking through silence. He knows that sometimes the mind must be quiet, the heart must slow down, and the soul must listen. Even in friendships or relationships, we often expect God to speak with fireworks. We want someone to text us with exactly the advice we need, or for circumstances to change dramatically. But often, His voice comes in the quiet pause between arguments, in the moment of reflection before we respond, in the deep breath we take before we make a choice. It is in silence that wisdom whispers. One of you has been on the edge of making a decision, trying to listen to everyone around you, reading every article, hearing every opinion, and yet the clarity only comes when you finally stop talking and stop trying to control the outcome. That is God speaking through silence. God even speaks through the silence of nature. Have you ever walked through a park or sat by the water or watched a sunset and felt a stirring in your soul? That stillness, that quiet, that pause from the noise of life. That is His language. He doesn't always need to shout to get your attention. He knows that your heart hears better when your mind is still. A fisherman waiting by the river may feel hours pass with nothing catching, yet in that quiet wait, a sudden realization hits. A new strategy, a new opportunity, a new purpose. That is God speaking through silence. In the workplace, it is the moments when your boss doesn't give clear instructions, when the meeting ends and no one has the answers, when the pressure is high and everyone is panicking. That is often when God whispers the right idea, the perfect approach, the exact words to calm a client, or to make the project succeed. You may have missed it in the noise of constant emails, constant chatter, and constant stress, but in the quiet of focusing on your task, God speaks. That is His way of teaching you patience, attentiveness, and discernment. Even in times of grief, when a loved one passes, or when life feels unbearable, God speaks through silence. It may be the stillness at 2 a.m. when you are crying alone, or the quiet walk in the rain, or the empty room where memories linger. In those silent moments, He plants hope. He plants courage. He plants the understanding that this is not the end of the story. It is in the silence that your soul begins to hear the promise of new beginnings, the guidance of your next steps, the wisdom you never would have learned in the noise of distraction. Think about a student who is struggling with an exam, sitting alone in the library late at night. Everyone else has gone home, everyone else has given up, and there is only the quiet rustle of pages. In that silence, suddenly, the formulas make sense. The words come together, the problem resolves in a flash of understanding. That is God speaking through silence. He knows you will hear him when the world is quiet, when you remove the distractions, and when your heart is truly open to listen. Sometimes silence is also a test. God uses silence to see if you will trust him without constant confirmation. How many times have you prayed and waited, praying for weeks, months, maybe years, and nothing seemed to happen? That silence is not absence, it is preparation. It is his way of strengthening your faith, of teaching you that you don't need constant reassurance to move in the right direction. That is God speaking through silence. The breakthrough is coming, the path is being prepared, and when the time is right, he will make his move visible. But for now, he wants you to listen, to trust, to prepare your heart in the quiet. And let me tell you something. If you can learn to hear God in silence, if you can embrace the quiet moments, if you can see beyond the noise and focus on his voice, you will discover a level of guidance, clarity, and power that most people never experience. The world may scream for your attention. Distractions will come. Opinions will flood your ears. But when you learn to tune into the silence, you tune into God. You tune into destiny. You tune into the path that was always meant for you. Life has a way of testing us. It doesn't come gently. It doesn't come politely. Trials, challenges, hardships, they hit us when we least expect it. But what most people fail to realize is that God does not waste trials. He does not throw obstacles in our path to punish us. No, trials are not a detour, they are a compass. They point you in the direction of your purpose, even when it doesn't feel like it. Every setback, every heartbreak, every closed door is not the end of the road. It is a signal, a guidepost, a divine nudge telling you, this way, keep moving. Think about a student who fails an important exam. At first, the failure feels like the end of the world. The dreams seem crushed, the opportunities slipping away. But God uses that failure to redirect them. Perhaps it's a sign to study a different subject, to explore a career they never considered, to learn discipline and resilience. That trial, though painful, becomes the compass pointing them to their true calling. Without it, they might have continued down the wrong path, wasting years chasing something that was never meant to be. Consider an entrepreneur whose business fails. The bills pile up, employees are let go, and the stress seems unbearable. The first instinct is to see it as defeat, but in the silence of that trial, God is guiding them. That failure teaches them strategies, builds their character, and prepares them for the next opportunity. The failure becomes a map, showing them what works and what doesn't, revealing the mistakes that need correction, and pointing toward the breakthrough that is just around the corner. That is how God uses trials as a compass. Even in relationships, trials guide us. You may have experienced heartbreak, betrayal, or disappointment from someone you trusted. At first, it feels like devastation, but God is showing you the way. That painful experience teaches you boundaries, discernment, and self-respect. It filters out the people who are not meant for you and brings you closer to those who are aligned with your destiny. Every tear, every lonely night, every unanswered message is God pointing you in the direction of the life and love you truly deserve. In the workplace, trials often come in the form of criticism, demotion, or rejection. You might have been passed over for a promotion, ridiculed for your ideas, or misunderstood by your colleagues. That trial is not punishment. It is God's compass. It forces you to evaluate your strengths, refine your skills, and grow in ways you never thought possible. Sometimes the promotion you didn't get, the opportunity that slipped away, is God redirecting you to something far greater, something that aligns perfectly with your purpose. Think about a parent facing the challenges of raising children. Sleepless nights, tantrums, school issues, financial stress. These trials are relentless. But through each challenge, God teaches patience, unconditional love, and wisdom. Every difficult conversation, every struggle to balance life and work, every sacrifice is a compass pointing to the parent you are meant to become, strong, wise, and resilient, able to guide your children into their own purpose with clarity and love. Even in health struggles, God uses trials as a compass. A diagnosis, a long-term illness, or a season of weakness is not a punishment. It is a redirection. It forces you to slow down, to appreciate your body, to value life, to prioritize what truly matters. It may push you to adopt healthier habits, to change your lifestyle, or to focus on relationships that matter. The trial becomes a map, guiding you toward a life of balance, purpose, and gratitude. Sometimes, trials come through financial hardships. You may have lost a job, faced mounting debt, or struggled to make ends meet. These moments are uncomfortable, frightening, and humbling. But God uses these trials to point the way, to teach financial discipline, creative problem solving, perseverance, and reliance on Him. Each difficulty is a marker, showing you where to adjust your course, where to make wiser decisions, and how to build a foundation that will sustain you for years to come. Even in spiritual struggles, trials serve as a compass. When you feel distant from God, when prayer seems unanswered, when doubts creep in and faith feels weak, that is a trial guiding you. God is redirecting your focus, drawing you closer, and teaching you to trust Him, not just when life is easy, but when it is hard. Each struggle strengthens your faith, sharpens your discernment, and points you toward the path of deeper intimacy with Him. Look at the small daily struggles too. The missed bus, the spilled coffee, the argument with a coworker, the delayed package. These seemingly insignificant trials are subtle compasses. They teach patience, resilience, humility, and grace. They prepare you to handle bigger trials with confidence, to make better decisions, and to recognize God's direction when He places opportunities before you. And let me tell you something, every trial you face, every obstacle in your life, every moment of pain and frustration is not random. God is using it as a compass to redirect, to refine, to prepare, and to guide you. If you can learn to see your struggles not as curses but as divine markers, you will never be lost. You will never be aimless. You will always know that even in the darkest night, even in the fiercest storm, God's hand is guiding you, and every trial is pointing you exactly where you are supposed to go. There comes a time in every person's life when your heart and your mind are at odds. Your heart says one thing, your mind says another, and you feel stuck, conflicted, and unsure of which way to move. God, in His infinite wisdom, knows that clarity only comes when your heart and mind are aligned. He doesn't just want to tell you what to do. He wants to transform you from the inside out, so that your desires, your decisions, and your actions are all in harmony. When God aligns your heart and mind, suddenly the confusion disappears, and you move forward with purpose, confidence, and peace. Think about a young adult trying to choose a career path. Their mind says, go for the job that pays the most, while their heart whispers, follow the passion that makes you come alive. The conflict can be paralyzing, but God uses experiences, mentors, and circumstances to guide both the heart and mind into alignment. That internship, that volunteer work, that small project that seemed insignificant, they are His tools, slowly showing the way. One day, the choice becomes clear. Not because the mind overruled the heart or the heart ignored the mind, but because God has orchestrated a convergence, and suddenly it all makes sense. Consider a parent trying to balance family life and career ambitions. Their mind may be focused on success, promotions, and recognition, while their heart is tied to the needs of their children, the love of their spouse, and the well-being of the home. It feels impossible to satisfy both. Yet through prayer, patience, and discernment, God begins to align those desires. The parent starts making choices that honor both their professional growth and their family responsibilities. Suddenly, what seemed like impossible juggling transforms into purposeful living. That is God aligning heart and mind. Even in relationships, alignment is essential. You may meet someone who seems perfect on paper, but your heart feels hesitation. Or you may feel drawn to someone deeply, but your mind warns you of potential challenges. God uses time, experiences, conversations, and even moments of solitude to bring your heart and mind into sync. The hesitation begins to make sense, the attraction becomes wisdom, and the decision to stay or walk away is no longer a struggle, it is clarity. That is divine alignment. In the workplace, alignment is just as crucial. You may be offered a promotion, a partnership, or a project that excites your ambition, but your heart feels uneasy about the ethics, the people, or the timing. God uses trials, observations, and moments of reflection to adjust your perspective. He aligns your mind with the lessons of experience and your heart with the guidance of integrity. When that alignment happens, your choices are no longer anxiety-filled or second-guessed. You move forward with confidence, because your heart and mind are singing the same song. Even in personal growth, alignment is key. You may set goals in your mind to exercise, eat better, or learn a new skill, but your heart resists the discipline. God places circumstances, accountability, partners, or inspiring stories before you to nudge both your heart and mind into cooperation. The morning you wake up excited to run that extra mile, the moment you reach for a healthy meal without hesitation, the hour you finally sit down to study or create, that is the result of alignment. Your inner world and your outer actions begin to resonate in harmony. Think about a student struggling with motivation. Their mind knows the importance of studying, the need to achieve grades, but their heart longs for freedom, for fun, for distraction. God orchestrates alignment through deadlines, mentors, or experiences that awaken passion, a teacher's encouragement, a sudden insight, a real-world example makes the heart see the value of discipline and the mind understand the joy of accomplishment. Suddenly, study sessions feel purposeful, homework feels meaningful, and success no longer feels like a chore. It becomes a natural outflow of alignment between heart and mind. Even in moments of spiritual growth, alignment is essential. Your mind may understand the principles of faith, prayer, and obedience, but your heart may still feel fear, doubt, or hesitation. God uses experiences, answers to prayer, and moments of stillness to bridge the gap. A situation that once caused anxiety now brings peace. A challenge that once shook your confidence now strengthens your faith. The heart and mind begin to speak the same language. Trust, surrender, and action aligned. That alignment transforms decisions, relationships, careers, and even the trajectory of life itself. Sometimes alignment comes through discipline and consistency. God uses daily routines, small victories, and repeated choices to harmonize your desires and reasoning. The parent who chooses patience over anger, the professional who chooses honesty over shortcuts, the student who chooses diligence over distraction, all experience alignment. Slowly, steadily, intentionally. The heart learns what the mind has always known, and the mind supports what the heart has longed for. That unity produces clarity, confidence, and unstoppable momentum in life. God aligns your heart and mind so that you no longer feel pulled in opposite directions. When that alignment happens, your steps become confident, your decisions become clear, and your purpose becomes undeniable. You stop questioning yourself, doubting your path, or fearing the unknown. Your actions, desires, and reasoning all flow from the same source, and suddenly life becomes easier. Not because the challenges disappear, but because you are now equipped to handle them with wisdom, courage, and grace. Have you ever noticed how, at exactly the right time, the right person walks into your life? You were struggling, lost, confused, or in pain, and then someone appears, a friend, a stranger, a mentor, even an unexpected acquaintance, and suddenly clarity begins to unfold. That is not coincidence. That is God sending a messenger. God does not always reveal the path himself in ways we can see immediately. Sometimes he works through people, placing them in your life to guide you, redirect you, encourage you, or warn you. These messengers are often disguised as ordinary people, but their words, actions, and presence are extraordinary because they are divinely orchestrated. Think about a student who is overwhelmed with choices about their future. They don't know which college to attend, which career to pursue, or even what they are passionate about. Then a teacher takes an interest, offers guidance, and shares insight that changes everything. That teacher might not even realize the depth of their influence, but God used them as a messenger to plant wisdom, direction, and inspiration in the student's life. That small conversation could be the difference bet. Confusion and purpose, between failure and success. Consider an entrepreneur struggling with their business. They feel lost in the chaos, unsure of the next step, and on the verge of giving up. Then a seasoned colleague or an old friend shares advice, introduces a new strategy, or opens a door they never knew existed. That connection, that guidance, that opportunity is a divine intervention. God sends people as messengers, not just to provide solutions, but to illuminate the path, to reveal options, and to show that you are not walking alone. Even in personal relationships, God uses messengers. Sometimes it's a friend who tells you the hard truth you didn't want to hear, someone who warns you about a situation that could harm you. Other times, it's a mentor who encourages you to pursue your dreams, or a loved one who reminds you of your worth. These people may seem ordinary, but God placed them strategically in your life to steer you toward the right path. Their words are often gentle nudges, subtle hints, or firm advice that redirect you when you are wandering. In the workplace, God uses colleagues, supervisors, or even casual acquaintances as messengers. Perhaps a key worker notices a strength in you that you never recognized, offering encouragement that sparks confidence. Perhaps a manager gives constructive feedback that feels critical at first, but later reveals the key to your growth. Even casual encounters, a barista who shares an uplifting word, a stranger who listens to your concern, a neighbor who advises you, can be messengers of God's direction. Every person placed in your path has the potential to deliver divine insight. Think about a parent navigating the challenges of raising children. Sometimes God sends another parent, a teacher, a counselor, or a friend with advice that changes the course of how they handle a difficult situation. That guidance might prevent a mistake, offer a solution, or simply provide reassurance. God uses people as messengers not to take away your responsibility, but to illuminate wisdom that you might not see on your own. Even in moments of doubt or spiritual dryness, God sends messengers. A stranger might hand you a book that contains the exact words you needed to hear. A friend might share a testimony that reignites your faith. A mentor might ask a question that triggers reflection and clarity. These messengers are God's way of reminding you that His guidance is active, alive, and sometimes delivered through the voice of another human being. Sometimes the messenger comes in unexpected ways. The person who challenges you, who confronts you, who questions your choices, might actually be God's messenger. Their words may feel uncomfortable, even painful, but they contain seeds of wisdom, direction, and redirection. God often sends messengers in disguise, knowing that you will only hear the lesson when it is delivered in a way that shakes you awake. Even small acts of kindness can be divine messages. A neighbor who offers support during a crisis, a friend who notices your struggle and reaches out, a colleague who provides encouragement just when you need it. These are all channels through which God communicates. You might dismiss them as coincidences, but they are carefully placed interventions designed to guide, protect, and redirect you toward your purpose. God uses messengers to give hope, to teach, and to guide. Sometimes it is one conversation that changes your life. Sometimes it is repeated guidance over months or years. The messenger may not have all the answers, and they may not even know the impact of their words, but God uses their presence and wisdom to shape your path. These people are instruments, tools, and signs, helping you navigate the twists and turns of life and soar. That even when you feel lost, you are not alone. Even in our failures, messengers arrive. Perhaps a friend calls when you are doubting yourself, reminding you of your gifts. Perhaps a mentor points out a mistake, giving insight that saves you from a bigger loss. Perhaps a stranger shares a story that inspires action, sparks creativity, or motivates you to try again. God's messengers are everywhere if you are willing to see, listen, and act. God sends people as messengers because He knows that guidance is most effective when it is relational. He knows that sometimes words from a human voice, encouragement from a human heart, or direction from a human hand resonate in ways that abstract instructions or internal nudges cannot. That is why He places people in your life at the exact right time, with the exact right message to move you forward on your journey toward destiny. There are moments in life when the storms rage all around you. Deadlines loom, relationships are strained, financial pressure mounts, health challenges appear, and your mind is flooded with fear and doubt. In the midst of all this chaos, God gives peace. Not just any peace, but a deep, unshakable calm that tells you, even when nothing makes sense, I am with you. You are on the right path. This peace is not dependent on circumstances. It does not come from solving every problem or from controlling every outcome. It comes from knowing that God Himself is orchestrating your life and that He will not let you fail. Think about a student preparing for a crucial exam. Anxiety pounds, the pressure is unbearable, and the fear of failure looms large. You have studied, worked hard, yet the uncertainty creates turmoil in your mind. In the middle of this storm, a quiet confidence rises, a sense of calm settles in your chest, and your thoughts start to focus clearly. That is God giving peace as a sign. T is His way of saying, trust me. I have prepared you for this moment. Walk in confidence. This peace is more powerful than any cram session, more effective than any last-minute preparation, because it aligns your mind with divine assurance. Consider a parent worried about their child's future. They watch as their child struggles in school, fights social challenges, or faces health issues. The anxiety can be crushing. But sometimes, in the quiet of the night, after heartfelt prayers, a deep sense of calm washes over them. A sudden clarity about what steps to take. A feeling of trust that God is guiding their child reassures them. That is the sign of God's peace. It is a compass pointing toward the right decisions, the right schools, the right mentors, and the right environment. It whispers, do not fear, I am guiding every step. Even in relationships, God gives peace as a sign. You may face a difficult decision. Should you stay or walk away? Should you forgive or set boundaries? Should you speak up or remain silent? When your heart and mind are conflicted, God's peace enters like a gentle wave, cutting through confusion. It allows you to see clearly what aligns with your purpose and what does not. Perhaps you are considering a new relationship, a job opportunity, or a move to a new city. When the choice aligns with God's plan, you feel a profound sense of calm, even if challenges are still ahead. That peace is a divine confirmation, a signpost on the path He has prepared for you. In the workplace, God's peace is often subtle but unmistakable. Imagine being faced with a high-stakes decision, a business deal, a negotiation, a new project. The pressure is enormous, opinions differ, and fear tempts you to act hastily. Yet, in the midst of all the chaos, a sense of calm and clarity arises. You make decisions confidently, knowing that your steps are guided. That peace is not from human wisdom alone, it is God's way of signaling, this is the path. Trust me, walk boldly. It is the silent confirmation that you are moving in alignment with His plan. Even when others doubt. Even in financial struggles, God gives peace as a sign. You may be facing mounting bills, debt, or a sudden loss of income. The anxiety can be overwhelming, tempting you to panic, but God's peace comes when you trust Him to provide, to guide, and to orchestrate a solution. A sudden idea, a new opportunity, or a timely gift may appear, not by coincidence, but by divine orchestration. In that moment, peace floods your heart, reminding you that you are not alone and that God's hand is guiding your resources and decisions. That peace becomes both a compass and a cushion for your journey. Think about times of spiritual uncertainty. You may pray, seek guidance, and yet feel unanswered, leaving your heart heavy and restless. God gives peace as a sign, often subtly, through scripture that resonates deeply, through an unexpected conversation, or through a moment of quiet clarity during reflection. That peace reassures you that your faith is not misplaced, that the path you are on is aligned with His plan, and that even unanswered questions are part of His orchestration. Even in health challenges, God's peace is evident. When facing a diagnosis, recovery, or the care of a loved one, anxiety and fear are natural. But amidst the waiting, God provides moments of profound calm, guiding you to make wise choices, seek the right care, and maintain faith. That peace gives confidence to endure treatment, hope for recovery, and assurance that your steps are guided by Him. It is a sign that even the uncertainties of life are under His control. Everyday life is filled with moments where this peace manifests. A traffic jam that could cause panic instead becomes a time for reflection, prayer, or preparation. A conversation that could lead to conflict instead flows with understanding and patience. A missed opportunity that could spark fear instead becomes a chance to trust God's timing. Each moment of peace is a sign, a gentle whisper from God saying, "You are on the right path, I am with you. Walk forward with confidence." God's peace is not passive, it is active. It motivates, strengthens, and guides. It is a signal that the path you are on aligns with His will, even if the world around you is chaotic. It is a divine compass, a quiet voice amidst the noise, a powerful assurance that your steps are not random, your struggles are not meaningless, and your journey is watched over by a loving God who never abandons you. There are moments in life when you feel trapped, stuck, and powerless. You knock on doors, you send resumes, you make calls, you pour your heart into dreams, and it seems like every opportunity is blocked. Every no you hear feels like a wall. Every rejection like a door slammed shut. But let me tell you something. God opens doors no man can close. And the amazing thing is, these doors often open in ways you never expected. At times you never planned. And through people you never imagined. That is the power of divine intervention. Think about a young professional who has applied for dozens of jobs and keeps facing rejection. The interviews go well, the resumes look perfect, yet nothing seems to work. Then suddenly, a call comes from a company they never considered, a connection from a mentor, or an unexpected recommendation. That is God opening a door no man could have predicted. A door that leads to the exact place where their talent and passion align perfectly. The delays, the rejections, the no's were not denials. They were divine positioning, preparing them for the door that only God could open. Consider an entrepreneur who has faced repeated failures with their business. Banks have denied loans, investors have walked away, and product seems to flop, no matter how hard they work. Just when all seems lost, a partnership forms, a client appears, or a market opportunity arises that transforms everything. That door was not a result of human planning, it was divine orchestration. God opens doors no man can close, and often the very doors you thought were locked are the ones that will launch you into your destiny. Even in relationships, God's doors are unshakable. You may have experienced heartbreak, betrayal, or disappointment. The person you longed for may have walked away, or circumstances may have kept you apart. Yet God can open doors for the right relationships in ways you never imagined. A chance meeting, a reunion at the perfect time, or a connection through a friend can change everything. No human interference, no past mistakes, and no timing issues can close what God has opened. That is why faith matters. Because when He opens a door, it is unstoppable. In the workplace, sometimes a promotion, a transfer, or a new project seems impossible. Politics, competition, or lack of experience might suggest it will never happen. Yet God steps in. He arranges circumstances, mentors, and opportunities to create openings that no human opposition can block. A recommendation, an unexpected recognition, or a sudden need within the company becomes the door that changes the trajectory of your career. The people around you may doubt it, but God's doors cannot be closed by man. Even in education, God opens doors. A student struggling to gain admission to their dream school, facing strict requirements or intense competition, may suddenly receive a scholarship, a letter of acceptance, or an opportunity they did not expect. That is God's timing. It is divine provision. It is proof that no matter how many barriers appear, His favor creates openings that no human effort or obstacle can prevent. Think Abu. Someone pursuing a creative passion, music, art, writing, or acting. They face rejection, criticism, and discouragement at every step. Yet God opens doors for them in ways no one could anticipate. A chance meeting with the right agent, an invitation to perform, or a social media post going viral can launch a career that seemed impossible. The doors may be invisible, the path unclear, but divine intervention makes what seems unreachable possible. Even in financial struggles, God opens doors no man can close. Opportunities to earn, to invest, to receive support, or to discover new resources appear when least expected. A call, a message, a tip, or a new connection can completely shift your financial path. The obstacles that seemed insurmountable, the debts that felt endless, the struggles that seemed permanent, God has the power to open a door that changes everything. No human limitation, no system, no timing can prevent it. Sometimes God opens doors in the most unexpected ways, through mistakes, setbacks, or what appears to be failure. A missed opportunity, a delayed project, or a closed door may actually redirect you to the exact path you were meant to take. The disappointment is temporary, the divine door is eternal. The closed doors were never the end, they were preparation. The open doors are His gifts, His provision, and His promises coming to life in your reality. Even in spiritual life, God opens doors for growth, ministry, and influence. He places you in situations, introduces people, and arranges experiences that expand your reach and deepen your purpose. No opposition, no criticism, no disbelief can stop the doors He has chosen to open. The favor of God is unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniable. God opens doors no man can close because His timing is perfect, His wisdom is infinite, and His plan is far beyond human comprehension. The walls that seem so high, the barriers that feel unbreakable, the people who doubt, criticize, or oppose you, they are powerless against His favor. That door will open, and when it does, it will take you to a place of opportunity, blessing, and purpose that only He could have orchestrated. Have you ever felt a nudge in your spirit? A sudden thought that seems to come from nowhere? A feeling deep in your gut that tells you to act, to wait, to move, or to pause? That is not coincidence. That is God using intuition and instinct to guide your life. Often the human mind overthinks, overanalyzes, and tries to control every step. But God knows the way to your destiny is sometimes through the quiet, subtle nudges of your inner knowing. He places instincts and intuition in you as a divine compass, a GPS from heaven that points toward the right path even when the road seems invisible. Think about a student deciding which path to take in college. Logic may suggest one course of action, a major that promises high income or parental approval. But deep down, a voice whispers, a feeling arises that says, go the other way. It feels risky, uncertain, and even scary. Yet if they follow that instinct, doors open, passion is awakened, and success follows. That gut feeling, that inner tug, is God's voice guiding them to a path aligned with their purpose, a direction their mind alone could never have chosen. Consider a professional facing a major career decision. You may be offered a job with a high salary, prestigious title, or tempting benefits, but something in your heart resists. It's a feeling you can't explain, a subtle warning that tells you to pause or reconsider. That instinct is God's protection, steering you away from what could be harmful or misaligned with your destiny. On the other hand, a sudden inspiration, a spark of excitement for a different opportunity, or a gut feeling to take a risk, also God nudging you toward the right doors. Intuition is His whisper guiding your steps when logic alone is insufficient. Even in relationships, intuition plays a divine role. You may meet someone who seems perfect on paper, but something inside warns you to be cautious. Or perhaps someone enters your life unexpectedly and you feel drawn, confident, and peaceful around them. That is God using instinct to protect you, to direct you, and to align your heart with the people and relationships that are meant for your life. Many heartbreaks, mistakes, and regrets could have been avoided if we learn to trust that inner voice that God places in us. In everyday decision-making, intuition acts as a signpost from heaven. Perhaps a parent is driving and feels compelled to take a different route, later discovering that the usual road was blocked by an accident. Perhaps an employee feels a sudden urge to speak up in a meeting, and that input leads to a breakthrough no one expected. Or maybe an entrepreneur senses to pivot a product, invest differently, or reach out to a client who seemed insignificant, only to see tremendous success follow. Those nudges, those instincts, are God's hand guiding your life when circumstances alone cannot. Even in moments of danger, intuition is divine protection. A sudden feeling to check the stove, lock the door, or delay a decision might save your life or prevent a disaster. These are not coincidences. They are God's intervention through the instincts He has placed in you. Every time you act on that inner whisper, you are participating in divine guidance, responding to His wisdom and following a path that He has already prepared. Think about creative pursuits. An artist, musician, or writer may suddenly feel an idea, a vision, or a direction that feels inspired. That intuition is God guiding them to create something that not only fulfills their purpose but also impacts the world. The best ideas, the most meaningful art, the creations that resonate deeply with people are often born from moments when intuition aligns with divine guidance. Trusting that instinct allows God to move through you in ways that logic, planning, and fear could never achieve. Even in financial decisions, God uses intuition and instinct. You may feel compelled to invest in a certain opportunity, to save, to donate, or to redirect your resources. That quiet inner pull, that subtle certainty, is God guiding you to actions that will bear fruit. Many people miss their blessings because they ignore the nudges in their spirit, dismissing them as coincidence or fear. But God uses intuition to lead you toward abundance, provision, and opportunities that align with His purpose for your life. Sometimes intuition comes in subtle ways: dreams, sudden clarity, gut feelings, or even repeated thoughts. Other times it is urgent, insistent, a feeling so strong that ignoring it brings discomfort. God is persistent in guiding you through instinct because He desires your success, your safety, your fulfillment, and your alignment with His plan. That inner compass is always reliable, unwavering, and available for those who listen. God uses intuition and instinct because He knows that life cannot always be navigated by logic alone. The mind can be clouded by doubt, fear, and human limitations. But the inner guidance He places in you is pure, direct, and divine. When you learn to trust that inner voice, that gut feeling, that spiritual nudge, you walk with confidence, avoid pitfalls, seize opportunities, and follow the path He has prepared. Intuition is not guesswork. It is a divine appointment, a message, a whisper from heaven, guiding your steps toward destiny. Listen to me carefully. Your life is not a series of accidents, coincidences, or random eve. Every trial, every delay, every moment of confusion, every closed door, and every person who comes into your path has a divine purpose. God is at work in ways that your eyes cannot yet see, in timing that your mind cannot yet understand, and with plans that your heart cannot yet fully grasp. You may feel lost, you may feel delayed, you may feel frustrated, but the truth is this: He is working everything together for your good. You are not wandering aimlessly, you are moving under divine orchestration. Do not underestimate the power of His guidance. When He speaks through silence, when He uses trials as a compass, when He aligns your heart and mind, when He sends people as messengers, when He gives you peace, when He opens doors no man can close, and when He moves through your intuition and instinct, know this: it is all a preparation for your breakthrough. Every hardship you face, every moment you feel defeated, every time life knocks you down, God is setting the stage for your victory. He is preparing you for a story that will inspire others, for a testimony that will uplift generations, and for a life that will shine as an example of divine favor. You must believe that your steps are guided, that your journey is purposeful, and that your destiny is protected. The people who doubted you, the obstacles that discouraged you, the situations that seemed unfair, these are the very things God is using to teach you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you for greatness. Remember, diamonds are formed under pressure. Eagles rise against the wind, and you are no different. Your challenges are not your chains, they are your launching pads. Do not fear the unknown, because the unknown is where God performs miracles. Do not be impatient with delays, because delays are His way of perfecting the timing of your blessing. Do not ignore your instincts, because intuition is His whisper guiding you to the right path. And do not underestimate the people He places in your life, because through them, He delivers wisdom, direction, and confirmation. Every element of your life is orchestrated with precision, care, and purpose, and every piece is leading you exactly where you are meant to go. Let me tell you this: your breakthrough is coming, and it will not be subtle. It will be undeniable. It will shake the world around you. Doors will open that no one else could open. Opportunities will arise that no one else could create. Favor will flow in ways you cannot explain. Peace will settle in your heart even when storms rage around you. And when it happens, you will see clearly that every struggle, every tear, every moment of doubt, and every delay was worth it. I want you to hear me today and carry this truth with you. Greatness is not reserved for the flawless. It is reserved for the faithful. Destiny is not granted to the perfect. It is given to the persistent. And favor is not limited by your circumstances. It is limitless in the hands of God. Stand strong, keep walking, keep listening, keep trusting, and keep moving forward, because He who has started a good work in you will complete it. You are on a divine path. You are under divine protection. You are equipped with divine wisdom, and you are destined for divine favor. The storms, the setbacks, the confusion, they are not your end. They are your training ground. Your story is still being written, and the chapters ahead will be filled with victories, testimonies, and blessings beyond your imagination. So hold your head high, trust the journey, and embrace the process, because the best is yet to come, and it will be glorious. Remember this, and never forget it. When God is directing, no one can deter. When He is protecting, no one can destroy. And when He is blessing, no one can stop it. Your time is now, your season is here, and your miracle is on its way. Step forward in faith, walk boldly with confidence, and shine as the unstoppable, divinely guided force you were created to be.